And welcome into this week's edition of ACAP Today for the week of April 19th, 2021. I'm Jason Parent with the Aroostook County Action Program. On this week's program, and in just a little bit, we're going to speak with folks in ACAP's nutrition services programs that work in everything from WIC to the Let's Go program that talk about eating healthy and physical activity and all of that good stuff. March, the previous month, was actually National Nutrition Month, and we celebrated that a bit, but we didn't really have a chance to sit down during the month of March with our team that works so hard on these initiatives from one end of the county to the other each day. So we're going to do that in this week's edition of ACAP Today. But before we get to that, as we always do here on ACAP Today, we want to get to the news and information that you can use again for this week of the 19th of April 2021. And so we begin that by sharing with you first that our offices officially open, our lobbies in our offices at 771 Main Street near Walmart in Presque Isle, and at 91 Military Street, the office portion, not the early care and education facility, officially opened their lobbies to the public beginning at 8 a.m. On April 20th. We welcome folks back into the building. Please do be advised that we will be observing all COVID protocols. For individuals who are just dropping off paperwork, you're welcome to do that. But for any individuals who will be staying to meet with somebody in the building, in the areas where you are able to meet with individuals, folks will be asked to be certain that they have masks on. You should have masks on to even enter the building to drop off paperwork, but your temperature and COVID protocol questions will be asked of those individuals staying in the building for any period of time. So please do observe that. We also ask you to please observe at our 771 Main Street building that although the substantial completion of our project, our redevelopment project of this facility is for the most part done, we do still have some missing parts and pieces to finalize our construction work. So please pardon our appearance as we do finalize that in the coming weeks. There were some doors that didn't come in time and just some finishing touches that need to be finalized, and we will be doing those in the quick weeks time here. So please do just bear with us if you are coming into our 771 Main Street facility. There may be times where we have to close off access to finish a part of the construction job for folks to the lobby. Again, please be patient if that is the case, and we will be able to greet you through a customer service window from the inside of the building to the outside. We are getting into other news items. We do want to remind folks that the emergency rental relief program is still available, and it will be for a number of months. If you see your household income size and income guidelines here, or your household size and income guidelines, I should say, on this chart, please do consider applying for this program. It is available. There are millions of dollars available for Mainers across the state. Our team is doing a fantastic job of getting the information out and getting these processed as quickly as possible. We do have a high volume of applicants, but we encourage folks to apply for this program. Not only can it help get you assistance for your rent, but certain utilities, those listed on the screen here, are available for assistance as well. So if you've seen any increase in cost, and many folks have through groceries or other costs that they've had to absorb, and you are a renter, please consider applying for this program through the mainhousing.org website. It's also available on our website. And if you're unable to, for any reason, complete the application on a computer, you can give us a call and we will provide that assistance for you over the phone. So please do give us a call related to that. Speaking of assistance programs, the Home Energy Assistance Program is still taking applications for the current season, and I know that the days are getting warmer, but we do want to remind folks that this program is available. I've posted the income guidelines on the screen here, so if you can see if your family size and your income over a 1, 3, or 12-month period. If you've applied for this program before, like more than 2 years ago, we really encourage you to apply again, because the income guidelines that are posted there have changed quite dramatically by as much as 40% in the last couple of years. Beyond that, I would also add that if your household income has changed just in the last few months, as you can see there, the capture windows of time. So if you've had a change of employment status and your income has for the last 3 months been less than in the past, it may be worth your while to apply again for the program, as you may now be eligible. But our number for that is 768-3053, and we really encourage folks to give us a call. You can get an application in and a phone interview done within the same week right now, as there is a low volume, as we've made it through most of our customers for this season. So this is a great time to be considering this application if you haven't before, or if you haven't in a long time. The next home buyer education class that ACAP will be offering, again, an offering completely virtual. It's an 8-hour home buyer education class, and that course is scheduled on Saturday, May 1st between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Greg Doak and the team of individuals he brings together to teach that class from various sectors, including banking and real estate, will be there to provide some really great information in a neutral environment. The course is open to the public. Registration is required. You can do that by calling Greg directly or emailing him at the address on your screen. There's also a link on our website to be able to register for the next home buyer education class virtually and pay for it right online. We encourage you to do that. There's some tremendous incentives toward purchasing a home for people who complete this program. So please do check that out. We want to remind folks that we are strongly encouraging folks to get their COVID-19 vaccine here in the state of Maine. Now all residents age 16 and older are eligible. We are providing assistance for individuals under the age of 60, the Agency on Aging above the age of 60, for individuals who have difficulty for whatever reason navigating program appointments online or in any other format. Please give us a call at 764-3721 if we can be of any assistance to you in that regard. You can also visit for a list of vaccination sites, the maine.gov site listed there on your screen, and we encourage all folks to do that. They are doing appointments within the same week. We know there's been a vaccine delay in some cases, but there are available appointments across Aroostook County in the coming week, and we encourage folks to certainly take advantage of that. We also want to remind folks that if you are in need of a ride to your vaccine appointment, there is a hotline you can call. That's 1-855-608-5172, as it indicates there on your screen. This is a DHHS offered service for people who need a ride to and from a COVID-19 vaccination appointment. You want to call that number at least 48 hours in advance of your appointment to make arrangements, but this is a service available as well. We are also offering a special enrollment. The federal government is for healthcare marketplace navigation. It's open only for just a little under a month now remaining, but we want to remind folks that if you have previously done this, there is new incentives, or there are new incentives as of April 1st of this year, so earlier this month. If you're already enrolled in a health insurance plan through the marketplace, we encourage you to reach out to Stan Targonski, connect back with us, because there are new tax incentives that will likely significantly potentially lower the cost of your health insurance through the marketplace. So please do connect back with us if you are in that position, or if you are in a position that you've never connected before and are looking to get health insurance. Now is the time, now through May 15th, to enroll or make those changes. We want to again thank State Farm, the Harvell Insurance Agency, John Harvell and his team, for being our April sponsor of our community cupboard, and reminding folks that our community cupboard here at 771 Main Street is available just outside of our door, just to the left of our main entrance here at the office. Please do stop by if you are in need of food. If you'd like to make a donation of non-perishable food items, you can leave them right there in the cupboard anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And again, thank you to the State Farm Harvell Insurance Agency for being our sponsor of the month for April. We also want to say that individuals have been donating clothing and have been accessing the community closet, which has been expanded at our facility here at 771 Main Street in Presque Isle. If you are in need of clothing, or if you'd like to drop off gently used clothing to our facility, you can do that. You will note to the left of our main entrance, just beyond the food cupboard, is a little built-in enclosure where there is a clothes hanging rack inside that little enclosure with coats and other items for individuals of all ages and sizes. And we encourage you to check that out. Again, that's available 24/7. It's well lit at night, and we encourage you to visit it to either drop off or pick up clothing. We want to remind folks again, as we have been each week, that Maine's Workforce Collaborative has come together to provide some free virtual employment workshops and information sessions to help individuals connect to resources, to build job skills, and to find and maintain employment. If you would like to participate in any of these sessions or learn more information, contact us here at ACAP, and our workforce development team would be happy to connect you with these resources. They are offered on a regular basis, and they're completely remote, so you don't have to worry about leaving your home to go anywhere to take these courses, and certainly worthwhile if you're looking to retool to get back into the workplace or to expand your opportunities in the workplace. And we also want to remind folks of our Vote to Give campaign. Round 3 has officially begun, and ACAP is still in the running. We have been between first and second place, mostly in second place, but we love to jump into first place this week. We love your vote. Go to the Facebook page for Machias Savings Bank and vote for ACAP. We would love to get your vote. The winner of the contest, there's another couple of weeks of rounds here. It ends at the end of April. The winner of the contest will get $5,000 to devote to your financial literacy and financial health programs within your agency. So we'd love to bring the $5,000 to support people here in Aroostook County, and could certainly use your help to do that. So go online and vote. We also want to remind folks that if you're looking for anything, any kind of assistance, or are struggling right now, we do have a team of navigators that are available to help. You can call us at 764-3721 and ask to speak to a navigator. We will connect you with that resource, and they will help connect you with other resources and help guide you through, hopefully, the other side of a challenging time. And finally, we want to remind folks that we do have some openings. I have a number of openings on our team here at ACAP. If you see one of these positions here that you think you might be qualified for and would love to join our ACAP team, we encourage you to do so. Please do that and go online to our website, acap-me.org, to check out our positions and to fill out an online application. And that's this week's news and information you can use. And as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, we're pleased to be joined for our feature interview today by 5 of our team members here at ACAP, all of whom connect in some way or another to nutrition and food insecurity in some cases across our region. So we're pleased to be joined sort of in the squares, if you will, on our Hollywood squares today. Alison Gooding from the SNAP-Ed program in Southern Aroostook. Alison, it's great to have you. Connie Montpetit, it's great to have you with us as well. Connie Montpetit works in the Child and Adult Care Food Program, and we're going to learn more about that. She's also our breastfeeding support counselor here at the agency. So we're going to talk a little bit about that with another one of our guests, Jenna Norton, who's going to talk about the importance and significance of breastfeeding, as well as good oral health, which all ties into healthy lifestyle. And speaking of healthy lifestyles, Renee Bragdon is going to join us in a little bit to talk about the 5210 program, the Let's Go program here in the state of Maine, and the great work she's doing and how good nutrition is a critical part of that. But we're going to begin with Rachelle Roy. Rachelle, thank you for being on ACAP today. And we're going to talk about the concept of personalizing your plate. We just ended March, which is National Nutrition Health Month, and we should have probably done this broadcast in that month, but we should always look at nutrition 12 months of the year. So we want to continue that conversation into April and beyond. So talk to us about the concept of personalizing your plate and how that helps in the overall picture of good health and nutrition.
Good morning. Thanks, Jason. With nutrition certainly being a 12-month out of the year focus, it should be anyway. March is our designated month, and you know, a lot of people get bogged down in the whole idea of, oh, how do I make my plate? How do I make it work? How do I be, healthy? And it can be so simple. Personalizing your own plate, keeping it simple is the best way to look at it. And parents as role models. These parents want their children to eat healthy, but they need to realize that the children are at a very young age watching what they're eating as well. So that's a big piece as well. We talk about different ways to do that. Shaking up your proteins, maybe. The idea in the last couple of years is try a meatless Monday. Maybe those days you do more with beans, you do more with cheeses. Trying to get the focus not just on all the high fat things. Looking at proteins, your proteins can be nuts as well, or a lot of people are trying different soy products today. So, the lean meats like poultry and pork, which have been our white meats, were the focus for so many years, but there's also many other ideas that we can go on. And again, that's not going to be the biggest part of your plate. The biggest part of your plate is all your fruits and vegetables. Try to make that half your plate every day. And it's not just for snacks. It can be desserts. that's a big piece. A lot of people think, oh, well, I'll have a fruit for a snack. Make it part of the meal. Kids love it. Kids love fruit, and it's one thing that they certainly will all go for right on their plate. We also try to look at, trying to decrease the sugars in a lot of our intake today. And a lot of our sugars come in through what we drink. We like to focus on, water is great. Water is wonderful. What can you do to make water more exciting? The moms that we talk about trying to maybe even put fruit in their sippy cups or their straw cups, so that gives it a little flavor, but yet it's a cool idea. They're excited that, maybe it's frozen, maybe the blueberries are frozen into the ice cubes, or maybe they have an orange slice right in their cup that they can shake and see, and it gives them a little flavor, and then it promotes the water, which is so good for our body. So, those are certainly some things to think about, and, making sure to have a variety, not the same thing over and over in our eating. Just like we don't need to get on a food jag as adults, children need to see a variety, and they're not going to necessarily try it the first time. I remember the first time I tried asparagus with my boys, they just kind of looked at it. That's okay. But the second, third, fourth time, then they at least tried it. So, it's certainly not necessarily something they're going to try immediately. Some kids need 10 or 12 times before they realize exactly what it is and are willing to try it, but that's okay. We don't need to make everything so stressful. We just enjoy our time as a family.
And the concept when you were talking about water, a lot of folks is the carbonated water okay as well? Is that a good opportunity to add fruit to that, or to have a flavored carbonated water? Obviously,
I mean, you certainly can. You certainly can. Some people have gone more to the carbonated, or even making their own carbonated, just because they need that fizz. It's much better than drinking soda. There isn't sugar, the sugars aren't added to it. There may be a tiny bit that comes through the fruit, but that alone is much better than drinking any kind of soda beverage. So certainly.
Now, the next thing on the list is talking about whole grains. And we started with talking about the proteins and sort of shaking up your protein routine, but a lot of people are doing like keto and things of that nature. Talk about the importance of having some grains, especially whole grains, in your diet.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that we get lots of fiber in our diet, because that's critical for, controlling blood pressure, dietary, intestinal health. And we certainly want to try to make that whole grains. It helps, the whole grains help fight heart disease. They help with diabetes and regulating your sugar. And it certainly helps reduce your risk of colon cancer, which is, quickly becoming, coming up on the rise lately. And it's a great way to get it into your diet through snacks. You can do it through, popcorns, crackers. There's lots of variety of whole grain items out there today. And there's certainly, just switching from white rice to brown rice. It's kind of a simple switch, and not one that really takes a whole lot of thought to. So it certainly is good to have that in your diet, and much needed. I understand a lot of people are going towards the keto, but there's still lots of vitamins and minerals people are missing if they're not getting their whole grains.
Great. Now, and the last piece was about varying your veggies. We talked about varying the proteins as well. And you mentioned the experiment of trying asparagus with your children. That's certainly, we can think beyond the corn, the peas, and the carrots, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and make it fun. I know with just experience as a mom, if you give them the same thing over and over again, they get bored. They like to go to the grocery store and pick something out with you, or even simply like we've done with our ECE children through SNAP Ed and 5210. Growing something, if they see it start and they see it grow and it produces, they're more likely to try that, because that's something that they're invested in. And it's certainly a good thing for them to see the whole process.
And that's a good message imparting on folks right now, because we're hopefully going to be embarking on a new growing season really shortly here. Speaking of growing seasons, I know Alison Gooding, you were involved in a very exciting project a year ago at this time, if you will, where folks were doing just that. Before we get into talking about the portion sizes, because we were talking about the great variety with Rachelle, and we're going to talk about how to appropriately portion some of those variety of foods. That project, I know you partnered with some of the folks on the screen as well, really was very successful, wasn't it?
Oh, we had such fun with the garden kits, and I'm so excited to be looking toward a new iteration of the garden program, because we've got a new way of distributing materials. I know that we have a brand new program called Traveling Totes, and this is going to be a way to get materials, foods, recipes home to families on the weekends. And I'm going to be taking advantage of that with the SNAP-Ed gardening project, so that we'll be able to send along. One week it might be a packet of seeds, or another week or weeks later it might be a recipe, so that you can use what you have grown in your salad. If you're growing radishes, or you can just use the tops of the radish to put in your salad as a little garnish. So we're going to be continuing that conversation and making it more consistent and frequent, so that kids get to see that they can grow these healthy foods at home and eat them right off their own plates at home.
Wonderful. We'll have to do a
To
separate
that coming along.
Yeah, we'll have to do a separate episode on that and the traveling totes, because that's a really exciting program we're looking forward to launching shortly as well. And I know many of you are involved in that as well. So right behind you, right over your shoulder, is a sample plate, but there are other ways to sort of help. Maybe if you don't have a plate in front of you or the plate's not the right size, you have another one right there. Help us understand what's an appropriate portion of some of the great healthy foods that Rachelle spoke about.
Sure. And like all good teachers, we like to recap and repeat in case you didn't get it the first time, but ways to determine a good portion for each of those areas. You can see My Plate, and you can actually go to myplate.gov. SNAP-Ed also has a great website that has some great recipes. But you do want to make half of your plate fruits and vegetables and make them colorful. So a good way to figure out what that might look like, or how many items can constitute a serving, you can use your own hand. You've got it right at your fingertips, your own set of measuring cups and spoons, actually. So let's see how this might work. If you have a plate, and this is actually my plate, and I know that Renee is going to talk about this a little bit too. It's a smaller plate than perhaps what a standard plate would be. Here's a standard dinner plate, and this is about 10 inches across. Well, if you move to a smaller plate, then you have the idea that, oh, I have more food. You really don't, but it's to do with the portions that you have. So if you take a look at your first image, if you're looking at the palm of your hand, and you are looking to have your protein, your meat, and you're going to be doing what Rachelle mentioned, we want to have the opportunity to have lean meats and poultry, and you want to be able to vary it with your beans. Now here is a sample. This isn't real, this is fake food, but here are your baked beans, and it fits right in the palm of your hand, and that would be a serving, one serving of protein. So that doesn't mean that you go and get another serving the same size for the same meal. That means that's your serving. So that fits very nicely on an adult's hand. Be the same for men's hands, or maybe a little bit bigger. Children's hands are a little bit smaller, but it gives you a good rule of thumb to go by. No pun intended. But if you're
coming up to thumb, I'm a little afraid of that one.
Yes, and if you have a clenched fist, that would be a good indicator that that's a serving of fruits and vegetables. So if you go back to my plate, let's say that you're going to have fruits and vegetables that constitute half of the plate, then you've got, maybe you have your fruit salad and it's all fruit, or maybe you have your vegetable salad and it's all vegetables with maybe a few berries thrown in. that will allow you to have that freedom that Rachelle mentioned to kind of tailor your own plate to serve your own needs. Your thumb is the size of a serving of cheese, for example. And if you are looking at pasta or rice, and there are different schools of thought on that, if you're holding out one hand cupped, that might be a serving of raw rice, but when you cook it, it basically doubles in size. So that's like a cupped hand. So these are great ways to think about your fruits and vegetables and protein. It's also really good to go back to your grains. Make sure that half of your grains are whole. One of the ways that I like to do that is if I'm making a sandwich, then my sandwich, if I have 2 loaves of bread going at the same time, one of them might be whole wheat and the other one might be something else. I just take 1 slice from the whole wheat, 1 slice from whatever else is not whole grain. And that way I am getting half of my grains to be whole. And also when you're looking at your label on your bread package, make sure that the first ingredient is whole grain, because sometimes it'll say on it whole grain in big print on the package, and that might not necessarily be what you're getting. So make sure that it literally says whole grain in your packaging. So those are some of the reminders that we're talking to families and children and folks in the community about to help them make some good changes. A little bit at a time is great.
Do they have some aha moments when you go over this with them? Like, for example, my aha moment, and we're going to talk to Renee Bragdon in a bit, was I wonder how many thumbfuls of Gons Farms ice cream that we have eaten. I've seen Renee at Gons over the weekend, and Rachelle for that matter. And I don't think either Gons or Holton Farms Dairy does thumb-sized cones. And I'm hoping that they won't start that anytime soon, so I'm not compelled to try to attain to that. So
good things to kind of keep in the back of your mind, just to kind of gauge where you're at and what you might have had for breakfast. You can even out at the lunchtime meal. It doesn't have to be like exactly balanced each meal. You just kind of keep a running commentary of, oh yeah, maybe I can put some more blueberries on my cereal this morning. So just be mindful of it.
Well, that's a great segue to Renee Bragdon, who I've already kind of picked on a little bit. And that's about mindful eating, because that's really a topic that one of the many topics you're focused in the Let's Go program. So tell us a little bit about this concept of mindful eating.
Well, we have, as adults, sometimes we have barriers, and a lot of that overcoming the barriers for adults is lack of time. And so the 520 Let's Go program created a tip sheet, and it's a great resource, and we use it for education. We use it in an initiative called Small Steps, and this program is for adults. And typically we work with, younger or children. So we want to promote healthy eating and active living for adults. And so this Small Steps initiative is something that we'd like to see big health improvements for adults. And so if we could get started with these tips, I think it would be a good idea for people to really think about this. And we don't usually think about mindful eating. Sometimes we think about how much to eat or what to eat, but a lot of times we don't think about why we're eating or how we're eating. So some of these suggestions of mindful eating is don't skip meals. And so a big part of that is the reason we wouldn't want to skip meals is because it lowers our metabolism and can cause us to gain weight, and sometimes we feel sluggish. So make sure you're eating all of your meals. And secondly, it's important to eat sitting down. And I guess I've never really thought of this, but if you find that you're standing up, sometimes you eat quicker and you eat faster, and that actually can cause you to consume more calories. So you want to make sure you sit down and take your time. Mindfulness also is being present, and that means being there while you're eating and thinking about what you're doing while you're eating. So sometimes if we have the TV going or have the computer and newspaper in front of us while we're eating, it could actually cause indigestion because we're not really being mindful about how we're eating. And then we want to learn to recognize the difference between hunger and cravings. And so this is two totally different things. And I know we've all had cravings before where you're just thinking, oh, it's the specific food that I really desire or want. And sometimes it's the taste or the texture, but it's becomes more psychological. And then we forget why we're eating and why we actually, like your body is actually needing the fuel. And then we want to notice how much food is on your plate, on your fork or your spoon. And so Alison really did a good job, and so did Rachelle, really. And I want to reiterate the importance of noticing how much is on your plate. And so they did a good job with portions. So we'll move right on to taking time to enjoy the taste of your food and chewing slowly. Now, Jason, I'm just curious, how many times do you think that it would take to chew your food well and to help digest? Just as a guess, what do you think the approximate time would chew?
Like time or bites or?
How many bites? How many times should you chew? How many bites?
Trying to, let's see, I'd say 15.
Close.
I think it would depend on the texture of the food. Like a
Exactly.
fruit that's soft as opposed to a protein that's, you know, a steak I would imagine might be more than a strawberry.
Right, right. And so the approximate suggested time to the amount of bites to chew is 32 times per bite. And
Wow.
so that would be something more solid. So if it's been broken down, something more food, more water filled like watermelon, that would obviously be a little less. But we really should think about chewing a bite 32 times. Very interesting.
I'm gonna like make a mental note of that, and I'm gonna like count it the next time I chew.
Right.
Thank you for that.
And I found myself doing that too. Yes. Yep.
I did want to ask a question
Sure.
while we're going, because we're talking about food and we're talking a lot about meals, and the portions were very much based on meals. And when I noted your first suggestion for mindful eating, it talked about not skipping meals. And I've kind of heard things about maybe our concept of meals is maybe we need to break away from that concept and be eating smaller portions throughout the day. As you mentioned metabolism, is that something that's recommended, not recommended? I've heard people that have gone sort of on these diets where they fast for a long period of time and only consume food during a period of the day.
And that may work for some people depending on their body metabolism, but usually your body runs out of fuel and it will let you know. And so most people need to typically eat 3 to 4 hours per day, but depending on the person and you know what they prefer, what works for them.
Perfect. Okay, so we want to talk also about I think it's check the meal to see if you really need more food, that concept.
Right. And so I've even talked to my kids about after they finished a meal, sometimes when they've asked for seconds, I've said, well, let's wait 5 to 10 minutes and then decide. So that's really making a thoughtful mind to say, okay, do I need more food? Should I keep eating? And do I need a second helping? Good.
So sort of letting it sort of settle, if you will, kind of to determine, because your hunger mechanism might just keep going and you're fully satisfied at that point.
Right. And sometimes your body needs to digest that food and your stomach needs to send that message to your brain to say, I'm still hungry, or it takes time to say, oh, I'm full, I'm fine. So 5 to 10 minutes is a good time to wait.
And the last item on the list, on the checklist of mindful eating that you talked about was looking at how you feel both physically and emotionally. Talk about why that's important.
Right. And sometimes negative emotions, things like anger, fear, sadness, sometimes those can trigger us to want to eat. And it's an emotional state. And so you sometimes can choose to eat and consume more junk food. And that's something we really need to be aware of when we choose when to eat.
Anything else at all from that perspective, Renee, that you wanted to share?
Well, what I really wanted to pull together, and I know today is a nutrition topic, but it really is a central part to really also for well balance is to make sure you're getting more physical activity, more movement, getting rest, eating real foods and staying hydrated. So it is an overall balance to an essential part to staying healthy. Is a balance.
It's the fuel you need to do that, and the right balance, and that can help you maybe take more than a thumbful of Fulton Farms or Gons ice cream every once in a while, right?
Exactly.
Every once in a while, I'm preparing, like some people prepare for the swimsuit season. I'm preparing for the ice cream season. I've been really good for the first quarter of the year, and I'm like, when is that dairy bar opening? Please.
In moderation, right? Everything in moderation.
That's right. Moderation. If you look at the entire year cycle, I do okay, but ice cream season, not quite as well. But I'm more active during that time, so I think that we're, getting a little bit more in the full zen of it, Renee.
Balance, right?
Well, the five of you on the screen, six with me, have really work with individuals across the lifespan in terms of nutrition. Obviously, Connie works with younger children. There's a lot of work with younger children, but Alison really reaches across the lifespan in some of the work that she does, and obviously by the parents and grandparents you all impact through your teachings. We work across the lifespan, but Jenna Norton, it really starts at and even before birth. And you're going to talk about the importance of getting a good start nutritionally in life where breastfeeding is concerned. So talk about.
Yes, certainly. So big topic right now is breastfeeding. So really when you first start in life, even before, when baby's in utero, moms, in eating a wide variety of foods, we hope anyways. And so the baby's kind of getting a good start there when mom is eating nutritionally balanced meals, like we've talked about the previous slides. But when the baby is born, breast milk contains everything that baby needs in those first 6 months of life, and all the right proportions. It's the breast milk is composition even changes according to the baby's needs, which is amazing with what breast milk can do, especially in that first month of life. Even during those first days after birth, the breasts produce like a thick yellowish fluid called the colostrum. It's very high in protein, low in sugar, and it's loaded with beneficial compounds, which is full of like antibodies, which is giving a big boost for the baby's health to fight all the things that's going on in the world, like COVID and things like that. So it really gives the baby's good first start. The breast milk promotes healthy weight gain. It prevents childhood obesity. There's a lot of things that breast milk is amazing for. Even the breastfed baby, when they get older, they're less likely to be picky as toddlers than non-breastfed baby. And a lot of things the research is saying is, when mom ingests all these, foods, the baby's getting a little bit of taste of that in the breast milk as well, those certain foods. So when baby first tries a carrot, the baby's like, oh, I've already tried that before. I kind of like it. So it kind of promotes a good variety of flavors for the baby as well, which is a very fun fact research has been finding. But also, it's not just the benefits for the baby as well, it's benefits for the mom. A breastfeeding woman will have lower risks of certain cancers like breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and also with breastfed moms, they lose weight faster. It helps prevent type 2 diabetes. It helps with postpartum depression as well, because you're bonding with the baby, and that's going to help release all those happy hormones to help reduce postpartum depression. That often comes sometimes with that, and also heart disease. Mom's healthy breastfeeding and losing weight, and so that's going to help a lot with that. There's been some research on that helping with that as well. But yeah, it's breastfeeding is amazing. Even if just that first couple weeks of breastfeeding will help the baby and mom in the long run. So that's certainly something that's very important.
I think what's important to note in all that we're talking about as well is that we're just not here to share this information with you in this format, but we actually are available to connect with individuals when we're all of these nutrition things that we're talking about. I know all of you, welcome calls about that, and that's especially true of this topic right here. I know that your colleague Connie, who's with us, is a breastfeeding peer counselor, and so don't let the fear and the uncertainty. I remember when our first child was born and my wife was, learning that and learning how to get comfortable with that can be daunting for a new mom. And we don't want to make sure people understand that you're not alone in this. So if you're seeing the benefits and you're saying, gosh, this is really something I want to do, don't be intimidated by that, because we provide that support.
Yes,
And
certainly.
that's true of talking about.
Oh yeah. A lot of people think, like, oh, it's natural, like you'll just know, but it's a learned behavior. You got to learn through how to hold the baby, follow the cues of when the baby's hungry, and making sure you're eating enough and sleeping. It's a pretty daunting task. So we try to help mitigate that segue into, making it as peaceful and easy as possible.
So that's certainly one of the areas that we encourage folks out there to reach out to if you're looking for assistance or need advice or help with that at all. We don't want you to give up on something that could be both very healthy and beneficial for you as a parent, but especially beneficial for your child and your family as well. And one of the other areas, Jenna, because we do a lot of this work, most specifically in school districts, that a lot of people don't know, like in the general public, about, is ACAP's connection with oral health. And we're very much engaged in this portfolio of work, but it's very relevant to this conversation as well in terms of nutrition. So talk about the benefits and the connection between oral health and nutrition.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. Sometimes when you think oral health is, brushing teeth, flossing, making sure you're drinking water, less sugary beverages. But a lot of it, is you got to make sure you have a well-balanced nutritious diet, because that's also important for good oral health, and also your general health as well. The foods we eat, supplies the nutrients that our body, bones, teeth, and gums need to renew tissues. And this also helps fight infection and disease, including gum disease, which is a common factor in oral health. So poor nutrition can lead to tooth decay, cavities, and gum disease. Like certain foods, like calcium is a mineral that's found in many foods. It's essential for forming and maintaining healthy bones in the teeth as well. It helps prevent plaque buildup as well in certain foods. Also, there's a lot of healthy foods out there to help keep teeth stay strong, like yogurt and cheese, high fiber fruits and veggies, lean proteins, green and black tea, and fluorinated water, of course, helps prevent cavities forming. And a lot of times, sometimes diabetes and having healthy gums and teeth is really important to maintain. Like I never even thought of, but when you have uncontrolled diabetes, there's glucose that is present in your saliva. And that's the fluid in your mouth that helps make your mouth wet. So when diabetes isn't controlled, the high glucose levels in your saliva help harmful bacteria grow. And these bacteria combine with the foods, they start forming soft, sticky film called plaque. That's a lot of the things that when you're flossing your teeth, you get that white sticky stuff. That's what's coming off from foods. So foods containing a lot of sugars and starches, that's going to cause plaque buildup. And that's how tooth decay and cavities begin. So making sure to certainly brush your teeth twice a day, we recommend. Drinking plenty of water, reduce your sugars. And that's going to really help as well.
Yeah, and just to clarify for folks, we were talking about green and black tea, not green and black teeth. We're not encouraging the consumption of green and black tea. except for maybe the
Exactly.
candy kind around Halloween, and very much in moderation, according to this team.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So I think green and black teeth may be what would result if you don't have proper nutrition and oral health, right? That's what we'll go with, right, Jenna?
Yes, exactly that.
So Jenna, before we leave you, for Connie, who almost told I was at the bathroom while it was my turn to speak there just a moment ago, wanted to just check in with you to share, because parents of young children and children of school age may be very familiar with your services, because you and Lucy Morin, who's our dental hygienist here at the agency, are frequently in schools. But you are our oral health educator, among other hats that you wear with the agency. So you are also a resource that's available for the community if they have questions around oral health. And as soon as practicable, we'll have you back out in the community doing some outreach work as well.
Yes, yeah, email me, call me, yeah, reach out, and I'm more than happy to help get that information out there. It's very important.
Great. All right, well, Connie Montpetit is back in her seat, and I'm sure she'd be the first one to tell you that I saved the best for last. So we're going to move on to her now. And she's going to talk about a program, which we were talking just a moment ago about oral health, that folks may not be aware of how involved we are in this portfolio of work unless you've had the opportunity to engage with our educator or our dental hygienist. The same can be said about this program, Connie, that you operate, which is the Child and Adult Care Food Program. So tell folks about what that is.
All right. Well, the Child and Adult Care Food Program is to help. It's federally funded, but it's disbursed by the states. And it's to help provide healthy meals and snacks to our little kids. And it's for, well, let me come back here. It serves at-risk school programs, adult daycare centers, childcare centers, family daycare homes, and emergency shelters. Through ACAP, we provide it for our center affiliated, because like our Head Starts are through ACAP, so we can provide it that way. And we provide it to licensed daycare home providers. And in our aspect, it's from the ages of 6 weeks until their 13th birthday. And if you think about it, we start like with breastfeeding, which is another one of my passions. A child's DNA is in progress for the first 1,000 days of life. And so we think, well, they're born and their DNA is being formed while they're in utero, but it doesn't stop there. It goes until they're 5 years old. So you feel, or you figure that all of the nutrition, all of the good health and everything that you're putting in your child's body, beginning then, moving forward, helps give them a great building block for when they're older, when they're adults. Now, if you think about it, when you're hungry and a teacher or someone's talking to you and all you hear is your tummy rumbling, you don't hear what the teacher's telling you. Or you go outside to play and you don't have the energy to play because you don't have nutrition in your little body, and you need to be able to play, because that's also part of your DNA. That's also part of forming all of what your body needs to be healthy and grow up to for all the good stuff.
So we actually, when you think about it, and I know we just had the slide up, but we provide 2/3 of a child's daily intake food with healthy meals that meet those high nutrition standard contents. And this is for within our programs, but also for other childcare providers, right?
Right. For our program, for our Head Start and early Head Start standards and our childcare classrooms, we provide 2/3 of their meals, and we work along with like SNAP-Ed and H2NO. Did I say that right?
Let's go. We're going with let's go now. Okay. H2O though is good, because we were talking about the importance of water, so we don't want to miss that. Because Rachelle will tell you, drinking water is important.
Yes, it's very important, and it's part of the CACFP too, is you need to offer water frequently. When the littles are too little to understand they're thirsty, then we're depending on the adults to say, are you thirsty? We reimburse homes that are licensed through us for their meals and snacks. And it's 2 meals and a snack, or 2 snacks and a meal, depending on when the enrolled child is in your program. For our centers, we're looking to make sure that their daily intake have reduced added sugars, have lower salt, unhealthy fats, and the child's daily food intake. And our cooks and our staff is trained to make sure that our kids are getting the healthier meals and snacks.
And I will note they do a wonderful job with that, Connie. We have fantastic cooks across our agency, and I know we have some wonderful partnerships with some of the public schools in the north and the south that also provide some very healthy meals to us. So I think that we want to make sure that we recognize their accomplishments.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Our cooks are, and they'll call me and they'll say, if I was, a little one and I had the same thing over and over again, how can I, change it up a little bit? Do you mind if can I put this in? Is this? And some things they ask for, are not reimbursable through the food program, but we try to find something that would be similar or have a similar taste that would change things around a little bit for them. And during the pandemic, we were able to, because of waivers, we were able to provide home meals to our kids at home. They didn't have to be in our building. And we also worked with the school food service program. I was also able to be part of that. And I will be again in June. I think it'll start back up.
That was a tremendous effort. I mean, over 100,000 home delivered meals, and not just the meal. In some cases, for a period of time, 3 meals a day with snacks. And the better part of it too, I think our folks in 5210 Let's Go and SNAP Ed would agree with this, is that we provided the building blocks for meals so that families could actually do meals together.
It's not a program that you do. You can't be alone in there. Like Alison was talking about the gardening, a home daycare provider could grow a garden and use those foods. So that's saving them money and helping them when they get reimbursed for it. So that's, so in our schools are welcome to do that too. I think for a child to watch something grow and be able to eat it, that's amazing. We do school projects with our kids. We worked with some at-risk families. There's all kinds of things we could do with it. It's so important that we get the kids growing in a healthy way. Not everybody has the opportunity to do it at home. So getting 2/3 of it from us, at least we can counterbalance some of the stuff that they're having that's not as healthy. I went to a classroom and I was talking about eating healthy, and one little boy kept talking about, I was talking about apples and he was talking about chocolate bars, kind of dipping the apple in chocolate kind of thing. So he was trying hard, because no matter what food I threw in that was healthy, he was counteracting with what he liked better.
Connie, we will be voting for that young man someday on a ballot. I'm convinced.
No, but it's just, in working in conjunction with Jenna with breastfeeding and Rachelle, it's really important that that beginning, and then we're all breastfeeding friendly. So we encourage mothers to either send their milk, or if they have time to take a break, to come nurse. Right now, our buildings are closed for that, but they can send their milk, for their little ones to eat. And the great thing about breast milk is they can have it body temperature, they can have it room temperature, they can have it cold, and they can have it frozen. And it's all, Jenna spoke about the consistency changing. If a child is sick, the color of the milk will actually change because the consistency of what is needed for the child during this time changes. It's like when coming to the CACFP side, breast milk is the only milk you don't need a doctor's note for if you can't have cow's milk. But we encourage all of the food groups. Actually, it is a requirement to be on the food program to have all of the food groups. You need your liquid milk, you need your grains, your whole grains. And the great thing with the whole grains is if you have a WIC shopper app, you can scan the food and see if it's a cereal you can get or a whole grain that you can get. And if it's approved through WIC, then it's allowed with CACFP. It's instead of having to search and see if it's good or not. It's just a great way to integrate things. Some providers were struggling with the whole grains, but it doesn't have to be certain things. And you can have now all kinds of cereals because we're following the WIC, what's approved through WIC, instead of the same 4 or 5 cereals that everybody was having. But yeah, and I do have to say that ACAP and Horizons are sponsors of CACFP in Aroostook County.
Great. So I think that a number of beneficial things have been gained from this program, and I hope the top two of them are that, number one, if you may not have been aware of, you are now aware of a program or service that ACAP has available in this community as it relates to nutrition in the really broad scope of things that we've talked about today. And that, number two, that you count these 5 individuals who are sharing the screen with me as among your resources out there if you have questions, whether it be on breastfeeding or whether it be on nutrition through the lifespan or physical activity and things of that nature. So these are our experts here at the agency. We're very blessed to have all of you on our team. In Aroostook County is very fortunate to have all of you doing the great work that you're doing. So I want to thank you all. I don't know if any of you have any last words of wisdom that you'd like to impart on the folks of Aroostook County before we head out and before I give my last words. Just checking in on that.
If anybody's interested in becoming onto the CACFP food program and you're licensed for under 12 and under, give me a call. I'd love to work with you, bring you on with us and help get our little kids with, help pay the cost for the healthy meals and snacks for the kids.
That's great, Connie. Indeed. So if you are a childcare provider out there, and that is a very much available service to you, and Connie's pretty easy to work with most days, right?
I'd say all the time.
We keep her in the office the day she's not. No, I look forward to seeing you all hopefully in person soon, and I think our community will look forward to seeing you all in person soon as well as we get vaccinated, and remind you out there that if you haven't been vaccinated yet, please do make every effort to get vaccinated. And also, if you have any questions on any of these programs or other programs with CAP, any services you might need, please do connect with us. The information to us is being shared on your screen now, 764-3721. info@acap-me.org is the email address. You can look at our website, acap-me.org. Connect with us on Facebook. We're also on Twitter, and we have our YouTube channel where you can see past broadcasts of ACAP Today and other great learning exercises that our community educators and our early care and education professionals are putting out there for the community. And lastly, we end with our snapshot of the week, and one of our guests is guest this week, Jenna Norton. This is Jenna's cat. Jenna, what's the cat's name?
Lunar.
Lunar clearly is a fan of ACAP Today. I'm very excited about that we now have a feline 4-legged following. And so thank you, Jenna, for sharing this picture with us. And there is Lunar watching that episode with our early care and education professionals talking about the great work that they do. And I want to thank you again for the great work that you do, the 5 of you, and want to thank all of you for joining us for this edition of ACAP Today, whether you're watching us on cable access stations up in the St. John Valley, or whether you're watching us online. We're pleased that you were with us. We'll be back next week with a new episode of ACAP Today. Until then, have a great week, everyone.